Yeah.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes. Is there any difference or the same?
No, it sounds a
No.
lot
Now
better.
it sounds like you're back on. Yay!
All right. Ron, you are a super genius, my friend.
So you are
Thank
back
you.
on the board. Thank you. And we'll let Pete go and have a nice evening. And Tony and I will go, and you can start your opening music, and you're ready to go.
And Robin and Tony, if I may, I'll be there a little bit after 5 tomorrow. And like your Motel 6 commercial that is running.
I will leave
please
the light on for you,
me.
Pete.
Oh,
All right,
boy.
see ya. Go Friars tonight. Beat UConn. My PC Friars.
Oh,
Let's go.
I thought you were talking about the Philadelphia Flyers. No, they're not. They're not beating anybody lately. No.
No, the Friars, not the Flyers.
The Friars of Providence.
Friars.
Yeah. I thought maybe
The
Pete
great-
switched over to
back
us.
in the day when we love Coach Barnes up there, Rick Barnes, one of the greats at Providence.
Yeah, well, until he lost in the first round all the time. He got humiliated last night by South Carolina when they were 14-point favorites. But I digress.
I knew that would trigger you.
Bye,
I knew
Pete.
the
See you
Rick
tomorrow
Barnes.
morning.
All right, Pete, get some
All right,
sleep.
see you guys.
All right, and there he is, the great
Bye-bye.
Pete Shepard, ladies and gentlemen. Now I want to hear the opening theme song from Martinez and Company, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
I know it's officially back on.
Okay.
It's a banger tonight, I think.
Stand by.
What time is it? It's 6 o'clock, and it's time for the most wanted Latino men in the country. Angel Martinez and Rich Quinones, Martinez and Company on the Tony Bruno Sports Network. The fastest and most interactive show in the universe. Here's Angel and Q. Let's go!
It feels good to see the world getting loose. Feels good to see the world getting loose. I don't know about you, Sack Noel. I don't know about you, Phenom. I don't know about you, White Shadow. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. I'm 2+2, I'm for show. You down, I'm down, baby, let's go. You stop, you drop, baby, then roll. You twerk, you pop, booty so swole. I'd hate me too if I were you. And when it comes to billions, I'll take two. It's only one life, you don't get two. So live life, don't let it live you.
I got a pocket full of $100 bills. Put on a jacket, cause these diamonds give you chills. 2 shots are running, 2 out, I'm stunning tonight.
It is Martinez and Company. Let's see, is Tony and Miss Robin still hanging out?
We are still here. I just, in case you need anything, but if you don't, we are going to let you go and have a fantastic show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the extra time, as always. And I was wait a minute. I was hoping Tony was going to come out with a rap or maybe his drumsticks. I got nada.
The drumsticks are still in the box that we packed up yesterday, but I will unsheath those babies tomorrow.
All right.
I don't have my mic on. They're still in a box when we packed them up. I'll unsheath those tomorrow, and we'll definitely have them in Las Vegas on Radio Row.
Nice. Good.
Just one last note.
Yes.
Angel, turn your volume up just
RCH.
because I heard Rich laughing, and he was loud enough, I think.
Right.
But you guys have a fantastic show, and we will talk to you tomorrow on the crossover.
Okie dokies. Thank you very
Alrighty.
much.
Bye.
All right, boys.
All right.
I'm glad my laughter, the laughter came through. That's a plus. Angel,
See.
my goodness, you look disheveled. I was about to say a hair is out of place, but yet, let's be honest, you got the close crop.
Now, let's. Well, nothing much here. I hope that maybe it sounds a little bit better down this way here. We switched over a couple things, and so in the process of switching over a couple things happen. And so my one piece of device that I was using is no longer in use temporarily. Oh, hold on. Apparently, hang on. The volume was cranked up a little too high. Give me 1 second.
Well, that is what she said, my friend. That is what she said.
Hang on. We got to do a test here because I got to wait
Oh.
I got to wait for the producer. If you can
You're
hear
clean.
me,
You're clean now. You're clean.
Am I clean?
You're clean.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
What kind of show you guys are running back there in friggin' Tampa? Get
Listen.
your shit together.
Okay, all right. I guess I have to give myself wait for it. Wait for it. When you got to do it to yourself, it's pretty bad. Anyways, we were switching things over, Miss Robin, I believe. Sounding great. All right. Miss Robin says sounds great. So appreciate it. No, so we moved the studio from, it's still in Cape Coral. It's just at another super double secret location. And in the process, unfortunately for, and Joey B, as I'm explaining it, hold on.
Exactly. Echoes my thoughts exactly.
As Joey B says, alert, Tampa, get your shit together. I'm trying. I am trying. And as I was explaining here, the thing was that, so we switched. The reason why we weren't on the obviously Monday and Tuesday, because things went awry with Comcast at the other location. And so they had to move. Miss Robin, being the diligent person she is, she had to move some stuff around, make sure everything came up. And in the meantime, I had to hook up a laptop that I had not used but still have. And in order for that to work right, we had to make sure that all the inputs and outputs and all the good fun stuff had to be make sure that it's set up correctly. That's why they came over into the crossover. But thankfully, I went on with them because also getting in with the server that we use, there's a double secret password, and I couldn't remember the double secret password. But thankfully, Miss Robin did. Joey B says, wow. Hello, gents. Greetings. Great to see you guys back on. Missed you guys the first 2 days of the week. Listen, we miss you too, Joey B, as always. And everyone else who's tuning in. I see we have about 2 people. So Joey B's one. I guess Debbie's the other. And then maybe everybody else will come straggling back in. But it's just the way it works. Hey, listen, it happens.
You're hilarious.
Things happen. It's just the way it is. Unfortunately.
Yeah, Rich is another. Oh, and so am I. They will come on. Build it and they will come, my friend.
That's right.
They will come.
That is correct. But it's things that happen. Some people might be using the old number. So the 844 is no longer in use, folks. So if you guys are trying to send a text message, mine is AJ in San Antonio because he's hot and heavy tonight on the text messages. But the new number, all right, which will be the permanent number for the call-in, 352-234-TONY, and or once again, 352-234-8669. That is the new number for everyone to text in on the show. Of course, you can make your comments here live on our social medias. Now the room is filling back in. See, now everybody's coming back. Here we go. From Twitch, Mr. Fuio 2820. Excuse me. Hello back. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Some of these friggin' handles, I have absolutely no idea. I was just admiring how you just fought through. It was almost like pilot error, and you decided, you know what? I'm going to be Denzel Washington in the movie friggin' Flight, and I'm going to invert this SOB. Yeah. I'm going to invert it, and we're still going to land. Or whatever the hell he did.
Hopefully with a wing. And, as I say jokingly, because I got a trip coming up, but Joey B says, Jesus, you guys got more phone numbers than Fonzie on Happy Days.
Happy Days reference.
That's a good reference. That is a good reference. But yes, we are back. We will be back, and then we'll be off again on Friday, running the best of, because equipment needs to be packed up. We want to make sure everything is up and running as we jetline and sprint over to Las Vegas for Radio Row Week. So next week, you guys will be hearing everyone, just not on the same time slot you guys hear now. So instead of being Pete at 7 to 10 in the morning, Defo, who's taking a break for about 2 weeks, and then he'll be back. But you won't hear Defo in the morning, the best of. So what's going to end up happening is we got the shows they'll still be around. It's just going to be on a condensed version of it, and it'll be split. It all makes sense come Monday. Just tune in on Monday. As we'll be up extra early on Monday morning to make sure everything comes through, because obviously there's a 3-hour delay in between here and the left side of the world. Yep. Twitch. Okay. I'm thinking it's crack, but he says, what's the crack here? What sports are we talking about? Listen, everything and anything under the sun. It's from MLB to NFL to NHL, you name it, we talk about it. Just kind of let you know. Joey B says Martinez coming in Vegas or just Tony and Robin. Okay, so you have starting from the top, Pete Shepard, in Vegas. No Defoe, because again, he's off for 2 weeks. He's still trying to recuperate and take care of things personally. So he'll be off for 2 weeks. LFG, Dave Benz will be there from LFG. Jim will be still in Tennessee for another commitment. Tony and Robin, Martinez and Company, as far as me, and then Rich will be on remote out on the Jersey Shore, as always. And then AJ and the Bleacher Brothers, they'll be there as well. So 90% of the crew will be there. Hopefully that answers that question. And my voice again kind of hoarse because it's been a long day as far as talking, but we punch through and we get through it as much as we possibly can. Wow, the first half hour is almost gone already. And well, that's because we had...
Well, you can't really count 15, 20 minutes. I mean, come on, what are we doing here?
I know.
Like I said, man, get your shit.
Listen, I was trying. What do you want? I'm working through it. It's a process.
Hey, and you fantastic job.
I try. It's the only thing I can do is try. By the way, and here comes the tea special. For those who are also in Indianapolis for the TBL Draft Combine, that is coming up. The owners meeting starts tomorrow. Safety rules and stuff going on Friday. A lot of meets and greets. And then the players, the athletes who want to try out for the teams will have the interview on Friday evening. This year, obviously, I will not be there because it can be at two places at once. But I did let Evelyn and David know the exciting news. And so they understood. And I just hope that the TBL has a great time over the weekend because it was a fun time last year. We had great turnout with the athletes. Saturday was completely sold out. Sunday ended up selling out, I think, an hour before the tryouts. And then the draft was absolutely fantastic on Sunday evening. It was a busy weekend. It was nonstop. So I expect no less on Radio Row.
Yeah, and you got, by the way, you got a lot of the mini camps too that were just going on around the league. A couple of new additions this year and a couple of teams that have pulled out. So, yep, season right around the corner.
Yep. Joey B says, Quinones down the shore? Nice. Yes. As the Jersey thing. All we need is the fifth pump. Joey B says, alert, tea delivery. At least Deb's got her shit together in Tampa. All right. Listen, I tried my best. What else you want from me? It happens. And by the way, I know I felt like there was something else too I had to say before we went to the break, but it'll come to me like everything else. So, again, who was it? Let me go back. So, Mr. Fuio 20, thanks for tuning in. And yes, we get it into a little bit of everything. So after the break, we'll start getting into some NFL talk because obviously there's a lot of things that are going on, a lot of coaching hires. The Eagles seem to make business. Also, as we learned on Tony's show, which is not surprising because I got information just about from someone on the inside as well about Jalen and, well, I'll leave it at that. When we come back from the break.
I'll say this. Yeah. There's a lot of nonsense right now, not only going on with the Philadelphia Eagles, going on with the New York Jets, still the aftermath of Dan Campbell's fourth down decision-making in the NFC Championship. That's
you mean the Lions?
Debated over the last 24, 48 hours. You know, a little friction between the Ravens and the Chiefs because of the Justin Tucker kind of nonsense, Super Bowl right around the corner. So, yeah, the NFL certainly, you got a lot of storylines, a lot of different directions we can go with the NFL.
See, well, that's why we're here. Get a grip. Martinez, he was also covering the Rolex 24 up there in Daytona. I'm pretty sure he had a good time up there as well. So, yeah, we'll get into the NFL, some more talks, and hopefully you don't hear an echo. I will try my best because it's been a little bit of an issue today. So as we go into the commercial break, I will do my due diligence here to run said commercial, and then hopefully you guys won't hear the reverb. Joey B, before we go into the break, says, "Whoa, Quinones has a mug tonight too. He always does.
What are we doing here, Joey? I mean, Joey, you get your shit together. You know I always have a mug. I have my cup of coffee. I got the bottled water, and I'll be getting the whey in a couple moments."
That's it. As he says that this is breaking news.
No,
it's not.
You have to use the breaking news sounder judiciously. No.
Yeah.
You just can't randomly throw out breaking news sounders all the time, Angel. It
that's
must
right.
end.
Well, that's why I didn't do it, because we already know. You and I know that you use a mug. So there's that. Get a Grip says, incredible racing weekend. You should have me on and talk about it. Listen, maybe tomorrow we'll see how things go. Tomorrow's going to be a hot...
The 12th of never.
Just remember, I did not say that. Joey B says, LOL, Joey B needs to get his shit together. As you said it. All right. Sorry, I forgot about Rich's mug. See? Good, it's quick. It's all right. All right, listen. Coming back from the break, we will get into some NFL news as things are happening hot and heavy here. Don't forget also the new phone number, 352-234-8669. 352-234-8669. And if those are saying, why isn't it toll free? Listen, everybody's plan, even the cheapest network that's out there for $25 a month, you don't pay for that stuff anymore because it's all included inside our plan. So that's that. All right. And Joey B says, before we go into the break, Jesus, cut me some slack. You guys were off air for 48 hours. What a wise ass. Oh, boy. Yeah. And then Get a Grip. Yeah, well, yeah, the Phillies jersey was pretty ugly. We'll try and get into it there a little bit later on. It is. I did see it, by the way, Get a Grip. It is absolutely horrendous. Wow, what a butcher job by the Phillies. It looks ridiculous. Anyways, after the break, we'll get into a little bit more. You are listening to, as I didn't state in the very beginning because we had a little bit of a technical snafu. I am Angel Martinez. He is Rich Quinones, Martinez Company, brought to you by the Tony Bruno Sports Network. Here from 6 to 8 p.m., Monday through Friday. Following us, it is AJ Johnson and the Bleacher Brothers from 8 to 10 p.m., Monday through Thursday. Then to start your morning off, it is Pete Shepard. In the Pete Shepard Show, you guys just heard him a little bit during the crossover as he helped out by making a phone call. So thanks to Pete, and he sounded fantastic this morning from the Casa de Bruno as they were doing the show live from the house while the news story was being prepped. And then, all that good Vegas stuff. And then when we come back, everything will sound good. Defo will be off for the next 2 weeks. So normally it is the Defo Show from 10 to 12. Then the best of during the lunch hour, 1 to 3. It is Dave Benz, Jim Cosimore, Matt Fowler on LFG from 1 to 3 p.m. Tony and Miss Robin on the Tony Bruno Show from 3 to 6. And then us right back here again. So we will get into this break here. Enjoy the lovely vintage commercials. And then we'll come back for more Martinez Company on the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
You know I got a break.
You're listening to Martinez and Company.
That's right.
On the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
I love Baco. It's rich in chocolate tea. Chocolate flavored Baco is mighty good for me. Mama puts it in my milk for extra energy. Baco gives me iron and sunshine vitamin D. Oh, I love Baco. That's the drink for me.
Yo-ho, yo-ho, brush, let's all lather, boys, whichever you've the notion. 50 cents for shaving cream, $1 for the lotion. Old Spice means quality, said the captain to the bosun. So look for the package with the ship that sails the ocean. Yo-ho, yo-ho.
Got the time, we've got the beer, Miller beer. Miller tastes too good to hurry through, but when it's time to relax, Miller stands clear, beer after beer. If you've got the time, you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Hello, amigo. I'm Chiquita Banana, and I've come to say bananas have to ripen in a certain way, and when they're flecked with brown and have a golden hue, bananas taste the best and are the best for you. You can put them in a salad, you can put them in a pie, any way you want to eat them. It's impossible to beat them, but bananas like the climate of the very, very tropical equator. So you should never put bananas goes in the refrigerator. To have bananas that are fully ripe, you must be absolutely sure to take them home and let them ripen in a temperature.
Oh, sure. Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute.
Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it.
Floors, doors, walls, halls, white sidewall tires, and old golf balls.
Sinks, stoves, bathtubs he'll do. He'll even help clean laundry too.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute.
Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it.
Can he clean a kitchen sink?
Quicker than a wink.
Can he clean a window sash?
Faster than a flash.
Can he clean a dirty mirror?
He'll make it bright and clear.
Can he clean a diamond ring?
Mr. Clean cleans anything.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute. Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Now, back to Martinez and Company.
It's always playing in my car.
On the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
Martha Stewart says she loves Q from Martinez and Company. He knows how to turn up the heat. Here is Angel and Q. I'm going to recharge my batteries.
Martha.
That's Martha Stewart's entrance song after she comes back from that break. When she puts on the fire, that's when she walks up to you, and it's the music that she's walking up to.
Yeah, I mean that's your Squiggly's music, man. It's like when the kid drops off the friggin' pizza, the pizza, and all of a sudden, why don't you just leave it on the counter? Oh, Mr. Johnson's not home, is he? And then all of a sudden, that's when you just start to hear the boom, chicka, boom, boom.
That's just it. I don't know. Maybe. Oops. Hold on. My fault. I forgot to throw something back on there, so we probably had dead air there for a second. Hopefully not, but it happens. So in between, I got to get used to here until we get things straightened out. So those who thought that we were off their air for a second, unfortunately, when we go on to commercial break, and this will all be ironed out, if I leave, see, the producer just figured it out as well. She just came in. But if I leave the mic on during the commercial break, you guys would hear an echo. So now I have to remind myself when we come back out of commercial, normally I can just mute or leave that on, mute my soundboard. But unfortunately, I got to remember now, see all these little things that you have to make sure that we get done. So therefore, we sound and look fantastic here. By the way, before the break, Joey B said, puppy update from Rich in the next segment. Well, here we are in the next segment. And he says, plus or minus the times that Quinones has cleaned up puppy accidents over the past month. He says, plus or minus 52 and a half.
Oh, I'm well over. Today alone, probably 5. But I'll say this. She's a smart little pooch. So I've been doing the pee pads, but now I start to make them like in an L, like downstairs. So what I'm doing is I'm stretching it right near the back door. She's hanging tough though. We spar in the morning. We box. I say, let's go. Daddy wants to box. Daddy wants to box. She writes right downstairs in the garage. She meets me in there. She sits. But yeah. And as far as how many times I've had to say no, that's probably about over 300. I don't understand when these dogs friggin' teeth, man, they want to bite. Angel, I kid you not. I go down the street to pick up the mail. Right. Or go right down the street for 5 minutes. When I come back, she literally thinks I was overseas for 25 years.
Well, because she has that separation anxiety. She was dead all the time.
So do I. My heart was breaking over the weekend when I had to go do a broadcast. I couldn't wait to friggin' get out of there. I was hoping for some friggin' knockout so I can get home.
But that's true. I forgot.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, who watched them? Who watched her?
So that I did the crate.
See,
but it was only for a couple hours, and then ran free for the rest of the night. Hence, no sleeping. Because you can only really keep them in the crate for like 3-4 hours, and at night, I don't want to stick her in there. I train her, to go in there, and she'll go freely, which is good. I never force. We don't like to force. And then she was wound up, and bedtime was probably 4 or 5 in the morning. Hence, my ass was dragging on what's it, Sunday? Yeah, Sunday.
Sunday.
So,
Yeah. You sounded pretty tired when you talked to me on Sunday.
I was exhausted. Well, it didn't help that it was a long night with the fights as well. But she's a good little Kiki. She's a good little pup. She's got a lot of funk, a lot of heart to her.
By the way, how were the fights? Because I don't think we even talked about it.
The fights, there was a major upset. There's a really hot prospect named Devin Price. His brother Dylan Price is undefeated. Really nice rising prospect. He got upset. And I'll tell you how bad the scoring is sometimes with boxing. So typically you got a 4-round fight. If it's a clean sweep, then do the math. It's 40-36 across the board. So this kid's a super lightweight, 19 years old, from Sicklerville, right outside Philly. He fought this kid, Sebastian Chavez. The kid floored him in the second. And it should have been, because you have to count it as a knockdown. So that is a 10-8 round. But yet the judges still scored it 40-36. It should have been 40-35. But nonetheless, right fighter won. But the fights were good. The fights were very, very entertaining. We did the fights over in Harris Chester. And then next weekend in D.C., the following weekend in Maryland, following weekend, I think maybe in Carolina, Virginia. They might be done remotely. But all in all, it was a pretty good night.
Well, that's good. Now, you went to Delaware over the weekend or Maryland?
No. So last weekend, I had to do AMI stuff in Delaware, but then I did the Harris, Chester, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, and then prior to that, with Roy Jones was down in AC.
Yeah, I hear Chester's lovely this time of year.
Roll them up.
Yeah. Listen, they are trying. They are trying. And I would say they were, when the casino originally opened, a lot of good folks were going there. I hear not so much as of late. And
it's anywhere, man. It's right outside Atlantic City, the same.
I know.
Saturated, 9 casinos.
Yep. That's all right. I mean, things could always be worse. Thankfully, it's not. Joey B says there was no dead air. You're good to go. Thank you very much, Joey B. And it says, follows up with, Martha agrees with Quinones training of puppies technique. Martha now calling Quinones for tips and tricks.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. No one's sticking a leash on me, Joey B.
Is that what it is? By the way, how about the Travis Kelce on the pregame fracas there with Justin Tucker?
Yeah.
And then talk about he was poking the bear there. I mean, we saw the same nonsense, I guess if you want to say it that way, with the Eagles, but we all know how that one was going to turn out.
Well, look how it turned out for Kansas City. Did we not, by the way, did we not talk about this last week?
See.
I mentioned to you the narrative is either going to be that you've got a tight head coach in Shanahan or an over-aggressive coach in Campbell. And then conversely, in the AFC title game, it was either going to be Lamar Jackson comes up small, or we're going to start talking about Patrick Mahomes as an all-time great already, even though he already is. And wouldn't you know, all those scenarios played out. And I got to be honest, if I know you and Lloyd were going back and forth, like I said, I was half asleep during these games. If you're a Lions fan, I mean, what did you think about Campbell's aggressiveness to go for it, not only on fourth once, but then go for it later on in the game on fourth down twice? Did you have a problem with that at all? Or would you have taken the points to make it a 17-point lead going into the locker room?
I would have taken the points, honestly. Even if, so let's say you want to be aggressive and gamble with the first one and it failed. At least if you would have made the second one, and again, listen, everything could be completely different, but you could have been talking about going into a tie at the end of regulation if that was the case. But he decided to gamble a second time. I don't know why. And I know he mentioned it, that it was on him, rightfully so. It is on you. And I know some of the players like Jared Goff, and Cruz said, well, it's on us as well because we should have executed, a lot better. But you're also not the head coach. The head coach executes said play. And then you have to go out there and actually execute it. So to me, it's not like you're not going to, you got to think about it. Is Jared Goff going to call a timeout and say, no, come on, bring in the kicking team? He's not, because what the head coach says is what he's going to end up doing. Now, I'm not saying that Jared Goff played his best game ever either, but I think it's different, man. There's nothing guaranteeing saying that you're going to get back there again. So if I would have gambled once and failed, you know what? I'm kicking it for the 3.
So first time around, if you look at the analytics, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, it's who he was, right? So you can make an argument for and against. It's classic Monday morning quarterbacking.
Right.
This is who this guy is. If Reynolds catches it, we're not talking about this. If they don't fumble the next possession, we're not talking about this. If they have the pick instead of the bouncing ball for Ayuk, we're not talking about this. If they down it on the 1, we're not talking about this. All that being said, it sounds like I'm really going to hedge right now, and I hate doing this. There's a little part in my gut, in my heart of hearts, that says, you're the Detroit Lions. You haven't been there before. You don't make runs into the divisional round. You don't make runs to the NFC Championship. You're that close to getting to the Super Bowl. You could go up by 17, which means you can kind of pin your ears back with the defense. You can force Purdy in San Francisco to maybe make a mistake. It's a 3-possession game. Take the points. But I also understand this is who he is. And Angel, the fact that he stood up there afterwards and said, well, there's no guarantee we're going to get back, that tells you he is second guessing himself for the rest of his life. Now, is that as bad as what we saw with Baltimore and Kansas City, where I don't know if you saw this, but what I saw was a team that totally imploded, had no composure whatsoever, didn't even try to run the football, and Harbaugh got flat out coached.
Yeah.
So you look at both those teams, Detroit and Baltimore, both are going to be kicking themselves. But I think end all be all, if you're a Lions fan, you really have to be sick to your stomach. But I get why he did it. But I also understand, read the room. Don't overthink it, right? Just because you think it's the right decision, it doesn't mean it is the right decision. Or
Correct.
to your point, coaches coach, players play, execute. Second time around, it was a bad pass by Goff. But the first time, the kid Reynolds should have caught the football. And how about this? He waits to call timeout. Last time out, he burns with a minute left, down 2 scores. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I'm pissed because, I had the Lions coming out of the NFC with my futures bet. So I had to friggin' rip that friggin' ticket up. Thank you very much, Dan Campbell.
Well, again, it's, as by the way, Joey B says, agree, Angel. On the road to playoffs, got to put up the points, and then follows up with Baltimore, Flowers, number 4, needs to grow up.
Yep.
Cost his team the game, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. That was dumb. That was extremely, extremely dumb. Now, at the same side, too, you also had Kelsey, who decided, listen, I continue to have issues with the NFL referees, and they need to come out with an NFL referee university or something, because you have Kelsey who decided, he's talking about that tuck and poke the bear. How about you doing the same thing too? Because you had, yeah,
but here's the thing. They're going back to the Super Bowl. They're looking to defend the Lombardi Trophy one more time. So it's gamesmanship, man. It's all. Kansas City wanted to remind the rest of the NFL, we're not done. We're not going anywhere. Get all the shots you want on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. We're going back to the Super Bowl. That's all they were concerned about. So any way they can try to get under Baltimore's skin or rattle them or disrupt them or have them thinking, it's exactly what they were going to do. But nobody wants to talk about Lamar Jackson winning an MVP because it doesn't matter at this point.
Right.
He can win 12 MVPs in a row. He's not a playoff quarterback. This guy's not a clutch quarterback at all. The MVP in the NFL now has been greatly diminished. Get me to the playoffs. Get me to the Super Bowl. I don't give a shit about regular season awards. I just don't.
Because they're not really making a difference at all, period. It doesn't seem like, because you're absolutely right, because now he looks like just Dak Prescott, because Dak can't do the same thing either.
Yeah.
So you look exactly like him. Joey B says, by the way, Flowers, number 4, wide receivers to the Ravens. Took that stupid 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty and then fumble going into the end zone for a touchdown. Listen, you got to, when you come to play, and I'm really, really surprised the way Harbaugh played, because I thought he would be a little more aggressive himself, but the Ravens looked flat from the very beginning. They had maybe one spark, and that was it. Obviously I'm not a smoker, but you if you're trying to light up a cigarette for a girl, you just happen to have one in your pocket, and when you flick it, you just get that quick little spark.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like. And then that was it. It was over.
It's actually a great analogy, right? Because they fizzled out. They had the one play with Lamar Jackson running around improvising, and making a great play with his legs and arm. But they ran the ball. If you take away Jackson's scrambles, they ran the ball 8 times. 8 times in a conference championship. That's I just don't get it sometimes. I think these coaches, they overthink so much. They had 16 total carries minus Lamar Jackson's 8 for 54 yards. So 8 carries for like 20-something odd yards. That is not going to win you games come January. You have to get to the quarterback. You have to run the football. I mean, it's just, that's a choke job and a half, but give Kansas City credit. So it's Kansas City now. It's San Francisco. I'm hoping now we can kind of put to end this whole Brock Purdy is just a guy conversation. Talking heads, I'll leave it up to some of these national guys because they still think he's not a very good quarterback. All the kid does is win. I think it'll be a very fascinating game. I think it can be one of these wild, high-scoring games where whoever has the ball last. Would I have liked to saw Detroit get in? Yeah. I mean, do I care if Kansas City goes back to the Super Bowl? No, I don't care.
Yeah, me either. At this point, I mean, they're Kansas City. Everybody knows. I mean, at this point, you're going to become now a dynasty if they end up winning another one again. All signs point to pretty much end up doing it unless San Fran. Who did San Fran lose over the weekend? I'm trying to think. And by the way, how did Deebo Samuel listen? These guys and these wonder drugs that they want to take in the NFL, because everybody remembers last year, you had Patrick Mahomes going into the half, could barely walk, was limping the whole 9 yards, comes down to the half like Superman.
Shoot him
and then
up.
you have Deebo Samuel last week, the week before, not last week because they just played. The week before, same thing, could barely walk. They talked about he could be out for the AFC Championship game. He looks like $1 million. So you get... I know that the NFL tries not to talk about it. When you keep taking this stuff, i.e. like Junior Seau, when concussions and this, that, and the other, keep injecting that crap into your body. When you get older, you are going to pay for it, my friends.
No one's thinking about that at the time.
I know.
They're not thinking about that. Numb it up, get back out there, man. I mean, but years ago, when guys would get knocked out, you know, the announcers would sit there and say, yeah, he got his bell rung. And they would go right back in the game. So we're not even, we're well past that. Now, all of a sudden, the guy gets his bell rung, go out to the side, go to the tent. You know, you got a spotter on the field. But guys go in the locker room, they'll get numbed up, they'll get shot up, you know, before the game, you know, at halftime. And they deal with the repercussions afterwards because they know what's at stake, man. It's not, that's the thing. Like, we're going for those plays and being aggressive. You can get away with it September, October against Chicago and Minnesota.
Right.
Different animal in the playoffs, right? So to your point, think about it. If you've got an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl and you're a little banged up, you're going to do whatever you can to stay on the field, to get out there, to be on the field. And that's what these guys do. Any way possible, they want to stay on the field.
Correct. I don't know. All I know is that these guys are they keep going, keep banging up their bodies, keep doing the way that they're doing things, and it's gonna be so bad. As Joey B puts the emojis up there when it comes to the needle, and then he follows up with take the needle. Those guys get bank. Take the needle and worry about it later, just the way it is. Yeah, and it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. But later on, when you're going to be struggling, could barely walk or anything else, it's bad enough. You figure in basketball, you're banging your knees up and down the court the whole entire time. Now, I know they tried to do their best to make it a little more better, I guess, for the players, but not every single place is going to be able to do it the same exact way. No matter what, you're still tearing up your knees. The more you go up for a dunk, the worse it's going to be when you get later in age. But
So with your argument right there, hold on, because I like where you're going with this. So with your argument, then you look at Joel Embiid, okay?
Okay.
He's already banged up. People got on him because he didn't make the trip for Denver because he probably thought Joker was going to eat his lunch. That's for the 4th time now. Hasn't traveled out there. 4th consecutive time, right? They've dropped, 4 in a row, all on the road. They lost to Golden State. Bangs his knee in the 4th quarter. Now you get the MRI. Now you say to yourself, well, 76ers, Nick Nurse, they should have turned around and they should have sat him. They should have basically told him, we're going to shut you down. But he wanted to be out there. Why? Because he got criticized for not going on the trip to Denver.
Right.
And Remember now, the new rule that's been implemented in the NBA is you need to play 65 games if you want to be considered for any type of All-NBA honors or MVP. So in one breath, you're saying, you shouldn't put the needle in there, but then you have a situation like Embiid where he really should have sat and the Sixers should have stepped in and they didn't, and now he might be lost for a while.
Yeah. Which again, Joey B says he freaking dodged Jokic here in Denver again. Yeah, saw that one. And then Joey B follows up with was in the arena and the fans got after him YouTube videos. I'm pretty sure that there's plenty of them out there. Maybe I'll load them up for tomorrow or something else. But it's just, it's Joel Embiid. Either he's really good for a good stretch during a regular season. We've seen it. He does wonders during a regular season. We get into the postseason and becomes a tale of two tales. It's completely different. And speaking of former player,
yeah,
Ben Simmons. When is New York going to realize that this guy is just dead weight? When?
So I've never liked Ben Simmons at all.
Neither do I.
I from the get-go, never saw the allure of Ben Simmons. Used to argue with people left and right, how they used to call him a transcendent player. And I'm like, what the hell are we talking about? Now, if you look at what he did the other night, what do you have? 10 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists and a steal, no turnovers in about 20 minutes of play. Okay, fine. The Nets get the win. Congratulations. But Angel, to your point, which is 100% correct, enough is enough with the guy already.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like he'll give you a game or two or moments, and then you think he's like that crappy quarterback that looks like Marino Montana for a couple of series, and you actually think you can get away with this guy being a franchise quarterback. It's exactly who Simmons is. It's born spoon in his mouth, man. Never wanted to put the work in, doesn't really care about playing, basically took his ball, get off the sandlot. I don't want to play anymore with the 76ers. I mean, and now it's someone else's problem, and that's the Nets. And I just can't. I can't take players like Ben Simmons. I can't.
No. It's ridiculous. As Joey B says, "Oh my fucking God, Ben Simmons just stealing money at this point. Such a joke." Listen, he's absolutely right. Yes, folks, we read him as we see him here. And then he says one good game, and then he takes 20 off. That's true. I mean, that's why all this thing when he went to New York. I mean, first of all, the whole thing with the sunglasses, you're an indoor arena, okay? You're not you're not Usher. Usher could probably get away with sitting in the stands, enjoying himself a basketball game with shades on. Not like it's going to be, no one can see me, I got shades on. No, everyone can see you. And Ben Simmons, probably the biggest fraud that ever played in the NBA. And it's rare I call anybody a fraud. He's a fraud. Especially when he tries to say he had mental issue problems, only come to find out that he turned around and be like, I don't. I just say it for sympathy. No, not good. Because the people that actually have those kind of issues, then you make them look bad. So that's one character I really, really don't freaking like.
So you got a problem with Corey Hart?
Why?
Corey Hart wore sunglasses at night.
Oh. Yeah, jeez. And hook, line, and sinker. Yes, I forgot about that one. Yeah, I wear my sunglasses at night.
But see, you got to be careful, though, and I know we're hitting 7 o'clock. You got to be careful when we start to say, well, is this guy really have mental issues or not?
No, it's just
I
a
know
fraud.
I'm playing devil's advocate, right? You have to sometimes, I've seen it in the fight game, boxers want to retire or step aside because they want to deal with their mental state and they need, complete peace and they have to just find themselves and all this stuff. And I've learned I back off with that stuff. If you're a dog on the floor, then I'm going to call you out.
Right.
But the other stuff, that's just me, man. That's just my opinion.
See, no, get it. Believe me, I get it. Joey B says, alert, Angel Martinez doesn't wear his sunglasses at night. I sure don't. There's no reason for it. Because
you're wearing sunglasses at night, then we might have to keep a watch file on you, my friend.
That's because to me, listen, I don't, how many times when I've been to a club and I see that, here comes Too Cool for the Room and decides to walk in there like, you're Joe Nobody, but now you want to be Joe somebody because you're going to walk in with your expensive glasses that you probably paid $1,000 too much for, but you're still driving up in your 1984 Yugo. But you want to make it seem like you're winning the room. And then eventually when you go out there and you talk to the girl and she says, can we go back to your place? Can we take your car? What's wrong with yours? We have to wind it and push it like a go-kart and then get it going. So I just, a lot of that stuff is just, it's so fraudulent. It's ridiculous. Joey B follows up with Quinones wears his sunglasses at night when Martha enters the club. Good point.
Probably
Good point.
That's why I do it.
What is it?
I said I probably don't want to be seen. That's why I do it.
Is that what it is?
Could be.
All right. Well, it works one way or the other. All right. We are at a little past actually on the top of the hour here. 7:01 on the west coast of Florida, or the other side of Florida. I guess the Gulf Coast.
I'll be back in 2. Do your thing.
Okay. All right. As we are here on the Gulf Coast here in Florida, beautiful Tampa Bay. By the way, last weekend at Gasparilla, man, was that a ton of fun out there. Great weather. It was 85 degrees with a breeze. It was so much fun. So if you guys miss it, if you guys have never been to Gasparilla here in Tampa, Joey B, you might want to come for that one next year, buddy. Just saying. It was such a great time. And Bert Kreischer was the Grand Marshal. And yes, he had his shirt off from the time that that Jose Gasparilla arrived in Tampa with the pirate boat. So it was a great time. But after us, here on the Tony Bruno Sports Network, it is AJ Johnson from 8 to 10 p.m., then the best of throughout the evening. Starting off your day tomorrow morning, it is Pete Shepard and the Pete Shepard Show from 7 to 10, loaded with guests today, including Mia. And she had a great take about Jacksonville, about Dougie P. She reached out to Eric Bieniemy, and it was just a great take this morning. Again, Defo will be off for the next 2 weeks. So if you guys don't hear Defo, no big deal. He is still on network. He's just trying to take care of some things. And then after him, it is the best of the lunch hour from 12 to 1. From 1 to 3, you have Dave Benz, Jim Cosymore, and Matt Fowler, the producer for LFG from 1 to 3 p.m. Then Tony and Miss Robin with the Tony Bruno Show from 3 to 6 p.m. And of course, myself, Angel Martinez, Rich Quinones, Martinez Company from 6 to 8. All shows Monday through Friday, except for Bleacher Brothers. They are Monday through Thursday. So this will be a quick break as Senor Quinones went, I'm pretty sure, to make sure the pup is okay. So we'll be literally right back, and or we'll see. So we'll be right back after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been waiting, and now it's here. TBSN, the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
Make some noise!
The Tony Bruno Sports Network. Download the app. Tell your friends the game is on. TBSN.
That's going to be like one of our sounders when we get ready to talk about some action-packed game there. And I'm going to have to put that on a loop. So every time we come back from, or we get ready for the big game. Yes?
I got breaking news.
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Wait a minute. I had to shut one off. I forgot.
Have you followed up with the guys that were frozen outside story?
No. So, okay. The last that I heard, minus your breaking news, was that the parent believed that the guy who was the scientist, whatever it was, inside the place, they believe he did it. So what's the breaking news?
So this is from my favorite paper and yours as well, the outlet, the New York Post. So Kansas City Chiefs fan who said he slept for 2 days as his 3 friends froze to death in the backyard has checked into rehab. Jordan Willis, 38, is facing his addiction head on. A source close to the family told Fox News Digital, calling the deaths of his friends an enormous wake-up call. Checked in, yada, yada, yada. 3 men last seen alive, blah, blah, blah. Where's the good part? Oh, here we go. The bodies were found nearly 2 days later when McGreeney's worried fiance broke into Will's property and saw one of them frozen in the yard. I really can't imagine, to be honest. He was wearing underwear, holding a wine glass when police arrived, claimed to have been asleep for nearly 2 days, and said he did not realize his friends were dead outside. The deceased men's toxicology reports are still pending, though 2 of them were supposedly seen arriving at Willis with 230 packs of beer, a neighbor told Fox News Digital. So, I'm wondering, and experts have indicated that alcohol, drugs like fentanyl or related analog could have caused the men to pass out in the snow and succumb to 30-degree weather. So we were thinking maybe a little foul play, right? I'm wondering if they just got really, they just drank a lot, did drugs, and for some inexplicable reason decided, hey, let's just go howl at the moon outside. And then all of a sudden, boom, it kicked in. And that was pretty much it. And they just lost their senses and their wits. And I don't know. Your theory is a lot more juicier, to be honest, right?
Right.
This guy planted something or spiked their drinks, their beer, or gave them a hot shot, something. But man,
see, I don't listen. There's been plenty of alcoholics before, and even when it's cold outside, they still, I mean, they could be drunk. And I'm talking about to the point where they're stumbling and they feel the shot of cold air, like, whoa, and then end up come bouncing back in because they know it's too cold. You know, so there's no way you could tell me, even if, okay, 2 men, first of all, to go through 30 pack of beers, 30 pack, it's kind of without even using a bathroom or anything else. To me, that's already completely suspicious. I mean, unless you were, again, hallucinating, hallucinogens, who knows, just sassafras, who knows what. If they're doing something, then it's a whole different story. But
I've held going to the bath. I'm on air for 5-6 hours and I can't go to the bathroom.
Yeah, but you're also not drinking alleged 30 beers.
No, I'm drinking a lot of water. I'm not comparing that to beer, but I'm just saying when you have to go, you have to go. And sometimes, you have to train the body.
Yeah.
Not like a 5-month-old pup, by the way, but you have to train the body to try to hold it in.
No, but still, there's been, like I said, even how many times when people come out of the clubs, right? When I did Uber and Lyft back in Philly, in the wintertime, when I went to go pick up people up at a club, and these are like my usual people, and they would come out, and they were, I take them there, they were sober. Thankfully, they were smart enough to build that relationship with me that I go pick them up, obviously, because I'd rather take them home if they're drunk. The worst case scenario is I put their head out the window and just tell them, listen, when you're ready to go, just, I'll stop the car. I can go to the car wash and get the outside of the car washed. I don't have a problem with that. I'd rather do that than them, decapitating themselves or someone else, and God forbid. So
that's not good.
Even when they would come out, whether there were guys and girls, and it was cold, they could be drunk. And they still get in the car like, oh, Jesus, man, it's freaking cold out there. And then, one of the girls will, come on, warm you up. And then 3 seconds later, boom, out in the car. Because you're going from warmth to cold back into warmth inside the car. And by the way, the only time which I kind of felt bad. So there was a husband and wife had just had their newborn. And both of them were doctors. The guy, you could tell he was stressed. As far as was he an oncologist? He was something. And then the wife performed surgery. Now, if you looked at both of them, you would never swear they were doctors because of how young they were. And then how they were talking. I'm not saying that doctors are like lawyers, but there's like a certain lingo unless they're around their own friends. So it's not like they got in the car and were like, well, that surgical performance I just performed last week, it was very estique. I had to make sure I go in there with precision cuts. It was nothing like that. They were just in there, goofing around, whatever. And the guy says, listen, when you come back to pick us up, because they went through a friend of a friend to go through me to go get him. He said, on the way back, my wife might look a little bit different. So I'm just kind of forewarning you because we're going out here with friends. They just bought a house here in South Philly. And so, we got to go back up to Burlington County. So she might look a little different. I didn't even think twice about it until I went back at 2:00 at the friend's house to go pick him up to take him back out to Burlington County. And the guy says, by the way, how's the temperature? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, inside the car. I'm like, You want me to make it leveled, you mean? So your wife, I'm assuming she had one too many. He goes, yeah. I'd be nice because if it's too warm, you already know. And I said, okay. I kid you not. She walks into or outside. He's and AJ in San Antonio. I'll get to you here in a second, but he brings her outside. He has a bag that you normally put you have handles, but he has it around her ears. And then has tape going around her forehead and on the bottom. And as how he's supposed to breathe, he was like, "Oh, I made holes up top just in case." But yeah, you should be fine.
Did they have the old Wonder Bread bags over the feet if it was raining?
No, it was the Lomans, which made it even worse because it's all paper. I'm like, man, I felt so bad. I'm like, the likelihood of her throwing up is going to be something. None. He goes, yeah, but that bill from Uber is not cheap. I'm like, listen, I really think your wife is passed out. She's probably not even going to wake up until we get to the house.
Yeah.
So on the drive home, sure enough, she's just knocked out. And he's making sure he's pulling the bag away from her nose to make sure she breathes. And then you pull it back, talk to you so this went on the whole entire trip. So it was almost like an instinct. Like as soon as we got to the house, she lifted up her head and she's like, "Oh, hey, we must be home." And he was like, yeah, honey, just don't move too fast. We're still inside the car. She goes, "What car? Who's this guy in our bed?" He's like, no. We're in Angel's car. Who's Angel? Oh, is he the third guy? Oh, we always wanted a third guy. He's like, she's just hallucinating. She's just hallucinating. So
Uber confessing.
Yeah. But it was funny though, because when she got out just before she reached the house, because he took the bag off when she got out the car. He's like, all right, I don't want her passing out. She puts the key in the door and here comes it ralphing up right in the front door. And he walks back to the car. He goes, well, thankfully it wasn't in your car. He goes, no, but he threw $50 in there on top of the tip he already threw at me. And they were a great couple, but she was hilarious. But anyways, that's the drunken story.
By the way, did you ever have to wear, when it snowed and you couldn't really, if you didn't afford like snow boots, did your mom ever say, hey, put Wonder Bread bags over your feet and then put your sneakers on? Do you ever?
We had the plastic bags. Yeah.
Huh?
We had the plastic bags. We didn't have the Wonder bags, but we had the plastic bags.
Let me tell you something, my friend. When you endure that, prepare yourself for at least 3 beatings a day when you get to school.
That's exactly it. But she used to tell us, like, mijo, tie it up. I'm like, to what? What am I tying it to? And then she decided to have this ingenious idea to duct tape the bag.
I mean, those are the days when you woke up early, you were praying that KYW read off your school listing.
Yep.
Because the last thing you need is fucking Wonder Bread bags over your feet for 3 straight days because you knew you were good for at least 4 to 5 friggin' beatings. So you're praying, get up at 6 and you're...
Yep.
School closings brought to you by... And then when they skipped, if you're like 626 and they would be like 622, 623, 624, 625, 627, you're like, oh,
yep.
Fuck.
Yep. My sister and I used to do the same thing because, it always starts out really early, right? And it's always like the common ones. Yeah. And then here it comes. Yeah. Here it comes. Nope. Oh, come on.
Yeah, you're like, come on. What are you doing to me? Come on. 628, 629, 630.
And then you wait for the next one because then the next update will come around. Like, all right, it's got to be in the next update. Nope. Everything but yours. Here you are walking off to school.
A late start, 20 minutes. You're like, what the frig, man? This is horrible. Like, I can't catch a break.
Nah, it was the worst. It definitely was the worst. AJ in San Antonio says Joel Embiid to go under MRI. So if you had Embiid hurt before February this NBA season, you win your office pool. Well, there you go.
Well, that's why it's very hard, to AJ's point, to his Texas message. It's very hard, even from a gambling standpoint, to bet on some of these guys when they're not going to be on the floor. Hence, the Philadelphia 76ers probably have no choice but to shut him down. Talked about it today on Q with my guy, Jonathan Marshall. He's sports anchor, covers the NBA in Boston. He said, shut him down for a month. And you look where the Sixers are in the Eastern Conference. I think they're in the 4th or 5th spot. No, Cleveland's in the 4th. Knicks are the 3rd. I think they're 5th or 6th. You shut him down for a month. I mean, he averaged 40 points in January. Yeah, what do you got?
All right, wait a minute. Go back to when you mentioned the show.
On cue.
I told you it was going to come in handy.
You're an asshole. I mean, seriously.
It would come in handy. There it is. So every time you say on cue, that's going to be the sounder. I'm changing
Well, you don't
it.
like when I say BYP because it's just short for back your play.
I know, but see, either way, it's going to be used because every time you say it, it's going to be used. No, but they're going to have to shut him down. And again, I wish for one entire season, Joel Embiid could stay healthy. Now, I know it was accidental what ended up happening yesterday, but at the same time, too, it's like he goes on his roll. Sixers are doing well. Nick Nurse is doing a great job out there in Philadelphia. And then this happens. For Doc Rivers, not so much. Not the way he...
But hold on.
See?
Hold on. Real quick. And I'm sorry to cut you off real quick, but who's to blame for this? He didn't play in Denver. Okay? He didn't want to play in Denver for whatever reason. We already knew his knee was gimpy. We've kind of seen how he's fallen all over the place. I know it's a related injury. Point being, then why play him last night?
They shouldn't have. You're exactly right. They shouldn't have played him. But knowing Joel Embiid, he'd probably say you wanted to go ahead and do it, and they did, and now paying a price once again.
So he's not going to play in Denver, but it's okay to go out there and play against Golden State. That's pretty much cooked.
Right. Yep. Pick and choose. Pick and choose. That's what it comes down to.
That's right. Pick and choose.
By the way, since I know we've been gone for, again, the studio's being moved around and all, but Vic Fangio, new DC for the Philadelphia Eagles. What are your thoughts on that hire? I'm kind of like somewhat on the fence here.
I mean, I don't know why people are shocked. I mean, he was a consultant with the Eagles. He's got ties. A couple of Howie Roseman's guys, they're very tight with Fangio. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, probably what would shock you more is Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator.
I know, that one I don't understand either. I understand he's young and all, but did he really prove that much in Dallas? Then over with the Chargers to bring him over as the OC here in Philly?
It's a good question. I don't know. Like, what are you expecting, right? I mean, if I'm an Eagles fan, which as you know I am not, but if I'm an Eagles fan, I pretty much have a head coach going into next season who's a lame duck. I mean, there's no way around. He is a lame duck. So now, if you're going to die, you got to die with your boots on. So you've got maybe players like Graham wants to come back 15th year. Fletcher Cox, who played well, wants to come back. Kelsey, we don't know yet. Johnson, okay. You've got Swift, who they didn't utilize as much as they should have. He's probably not going to be back. Penny was a waste. Boston Scott, good locker room guy. He'll probably come back. A.J. Brown now, all of a sudden, there's these speculation reports that the Eagles are potentially interested in trading him. There's the rift still with Jalen Hurts, still pissed off that they got rid of his OC, and him and Nick Sirianni not on the same page. So I guess my point, Angel, is I wouldn't concern myself so much with who they brought in as offensive and or defensive coordinator.
Right.
My concern would be clean up your house. Get your house in order going into the offseason. And there's no way around it. If this team, they go out and lose the first game of the season, people are going to be calling for Nick Sirianni's head. If they're 1-3, 1-4, 1-5, they're going to say fire the guy. And the only people that you can blame are Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman for bringing him back. This is why I still maintain my contention was blow it up, new coaching staff, and get rid of this guy. Yep. So they're setting themselves up where when they're 1-4, 2-5, and the media is killing this guy, then you got to make a decision. If you fire him, at least you have a guy in Fangio who was coached before, so you can throw the reins over to him for the rest of the season. Again, that's all crystal ball speculation, but my least concern if I'm an Eagles fan right now is the coordinators. It's whatever's still being dealt with in that locker room, or I should say whatever's occurring within that organization from top down, it's still there. And that's something they need to deal with.
Yeah, that they do. By the way, don't forget, you guys can call in or text the show. The new number, the permanent number is, as you guys see on the screen, and you'll be listening to on the apps here, 352-234-8669, 352-234-8669, because the 844 number is no longer in existence. So, and you guys will be able to see if you're listening or watching here on the social medias, you'll see it on the bottom ticker as it rolls across the screen. So in case you guys forget the number, you guys can see it that way. But AJ in San Antonio says, ESPN reports Seattle Seahawks hire Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald, the youngest NFL coach at 36 years old. Our thoughts, and he has a follow-up with that one as well. But am I on the fence because he's very young at 36 years old? How much have you learned in your young NFL career to become a head coach? Or are you trying to do it because of the whole youth movement and you're thinking you're bringing, more young fans into the stands? I don't know what they necessarily saw in him enough to take him over like a Mike Vrabel, I want to say. So I don't know. To me, it truthfully, to this point, maybe a couple of days from now, it'll make more sense when I start listening to more folks. But for right now, to me, I think he's too young. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Listen, McVay was a young guy, right?
Right.
I mean, he did a very good job defensive coordinator with Baltimore. Hell, they held Kansas City to 17 points in the AFC Championship game. I think he got a 6-year deal, but it is the new NFL. It is. They look, defense wins championships, so you got a defensive guy. The offense is going to hopefully take care of themselves. They have some questions with some of their players, and they went from a 71, 72-year-old Pete Carroll to a 36-year-old head coach. So that also tells me, and as much as you hear, I think it's very overrated when someone says, well, they love playing for this guy. No, they love playing for a check.
Right.
Let's not get it twisted, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now you've got a 36-year-old coming in, and maybe he relates better to some of these younger players where Carroll didn't. Even I'm not suggesting that Carroll didn't, but I'm just saying thought-wise, right? Carroll still had the energy of a 71, 72-year-old, 70-year-old, but maybe the message wasn't being heard. And they want to go defense. They understand what they're up against in the NFC, but yeah, it's hard to judge these types of hires until we see this guy on a Sunday and how he's calling a game and building the staff around him. It goes back to what we talked about. Build a good staff around you, and everything else will fall into place. Last year, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. Am I going to sit here and say Sirianni is a Hall of Fame head coach? No, but he had a good coordinator. He had a good defensive coordinator, good offensive coordinator. They had good special teams. Linebackers coach, wide receivers coach from top to bottom. He was smart. He built a very good staff around him. That's what Seattle's trying to do. It still leaves the hoodie out there, by the way. Belichick is the odd man out, which is actually crazy that we're saying this. And here's another name, Eric Bieniemy. That's another name we talked about a month ago.
I know.
Still seeing if he's going to get a shot.
Well, Mila this morning on Pete Shepard's show, she talked about how she was saying, why isn't Doug Glanville calling him up and telling him to come down to Jacksonville? Because obviously, who have the Commanders gone with? Nobody.
So, would you say Doug Glanville or Doug Peterson?
Doug Peterson.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be hearing things. I'm sorry. You just can't call the guy up and say, hey, man, come down. This is what I hear about Eric Bieniemy. He just doesn't interview. He hasn't interviewed well. And that's been the knock on him. And I also believe there was reports coming out of Washington. He was just too hard on some of these veteran players, the offensive side of the ball, which I don't have a problem with, but it rubs some people the wrong way. And sometimes you want to come in and start implementing your own ideas, and maybe it just doesn't jive and we're not on the same page, then it's not a very desirable spot for the organization. I think Eric Bieniemy deserves a head coaching job. I think Eric Bieniemy is a very good offensive coordinator, but I just don't know if there are seats available at this moment. It might take him another year or two. He might have to be another coordinator. Might have to be a coordinator,
right,
going forward. And let's be honest, Doug fired everyone because they choked in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Their defense sucked. Lawrence regressed. So he's not going to fire himself. So that's why they got rid of Caldwell. That's why they cleaned house. And that'd be an interesting, spot for him. Carolina, I'm thinking of teams with young quarterbacks. But Washington, I thought would be a nice little spot for Belichick. Obviously, that's not going to happen.
It's not. It's AJ. We'll get into the other one. I'm gonna save for Ashley Haas after the break. But he said as we're coming up quickly on the break, it is 7:26. He also says the Baltimore Orioles sold. Good, bad, meh. Your thoughts? It makes no difference to me. I think the Orioles right now are on the right path as far as getting this team at least back to some sort of contention. They obviously made the playoffs. So we're hoping they make it back to the postseason again. It could be better, obviously, because we know that Peter Angelos held his team back a ton. And God bless the season ticket holders that just stayed as diehard fans for out there at Camden Yards. I think that they should do better with the sell-off of the team. I hope they don't go anywhere because, again, Pickles Pub right across the street is a great place to hang out before you go to Camden Yards, and especially being down there at Ann Harbor. But, I mean, to me personally, it doesn't make a difference. I just think it's good overall for the fans, where at least now they should see a different ownership group come in there and maybe shake things up and start bringing at least good, talented players from single A all the way up to the majors.
Well, look, they had a great run last year. They just pitching failed them in the playoffs. They kind of exceeded everyone's expectations. They're a good team. They got some young talent. Then would you say the Angelos family, since 93? I think they purchased them for like $175 million.
Yep.
So obviously they got the right people in place. They won 100 games, 101. I think it's the most games they won since 1979. So they'll be fine. It's just, sometimes these families sell off these teams. They make their profit and they sail off in the sunset, or they keep a minority stake. Ripken's involved. I think Grant Hill's involved as well. So, but yeah, to your point with Camden Yards, it's a great stadium to go watch a game. No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt.
Yep, definitely. All right, so AJ, just hang in there. We will get to and by the way, Ashley Haas was a great guest with Tony Bruno, Miss Robin. She said that she loved AJ in San Antonio because he came out. AJ, if you still, oh no, do I? Hold on, AJ. I might answer my own question. Dun, 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 dun. Let me take a look. Darn it. Wrong thing. And how come this? Oh, here we go. This update. Oh, by the way, I didn't see. Nope, that was old. From where's AJ? He had one earlier. Was this one? Nope, that's not it. Darn it. All right, I'm gonna have to find it. I will have to find it. But he came up with a good rhyme for when Ashley was on, and she actually liked it, and that's why she said she loved AJ. So if AJ, if you have it, resend it by any chance, or if you have it posted up, I don't know if it should be enough characters up there. You can post it up there. But anyways, if not, just resend it on the text message thread. 352-234-8669. After the break, we'll get into AJ's comment about Ashley Haas, and being on Tony's show and talking about Jalen Hurts as something we had teased about early on before we had to get everything fixed up. So again, don't forget, right after us, it is AJ Johnson and the Bleacher Brothers. They are on Monday through Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. in the morning. Wake up with Pete Shepard with the Pete Shepard Show from 7 to 10 a.m. as he was at Casa de Bruno this morning. He'll probably be back there again tomorrow. And then Friday, it'll be the best of from Up and Down, because obviously people have to pack up equipment and gear and get ready to make their way to Vegas, baby. From 10 to 12, normally it is the Defo show. He will be on a break for about 2 weeks. Hopefully he'll be back after the Super Bowl week. Then from 12 to 1, it is the best of with Tony. It could be Pete. It could be myself and Rich. It could be AJ. So for that bonus hour from 12 to 1, it could be any of us from the best of. Then from 1 to 3, you have Dave Benz, Jim Cosymore, Matt Fowlers on LFG from 1 to 3. Then from 3 to 6, you have Tony and Miss Robin with the Tony Bruno Show from 3 to 6 p.m. And of course, myself, Angel Martinez, Rich Quinones, Martinez Company right here from 6 to 8 p.m. All shows, once again, Monday through Friday, minus the Bleacher Brothers, who is Monday through Thursday. Don't forget the text lines are still open at 352-234-8669. We also appreciate everybody who's tuning in here on the socials. So we will get into it just a little bit more. Enjoy the Vintage commercials. You are listening to Martinez Company on the Tony Bruno Sports Network. And it's going to go. Maybe not. Hello. You don't want to click. Wow. All right. Hold on, folks. I'm going to have to hit the refresh. Something it doesn't want to work. This. Uh-oh. What happened? Ruh-roh. Reload. Oh, boy.
And now enjoy some classic commercials. Brillo cream, a little dab will do ya.
Yeah, well, this is what happens once again when things decide to go awry. So it happened earlier on one of the shows. I'm trying to get it back. So for those who are watching us here, it's great. But unfortunately, on the radio side, they're probably listening to the best of for a moment.
Oh, boy. Do you want me to do the banana song?
Sure, why not?
I'm a Chiquita banana here to say I love my bananas in every way, but don't put the banana in the refrigerator. Ooh, hey. Da 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 da. Do. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Mm-hmm. Da, da, da.
Wow. Let me get back in. This happened. So just to let everybody know, unfortunately, this did happen between the 1 and 3 show, ironically, towards the end of the show. So history kind of repeating itself. So again, listen to the fine tunes. What is Senor Quinones?
Okay. You know a commercial I really like? The Anheuser-Busch with the horses during the commercials. Da 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 da. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
It's what we do.
Na 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 na. It's the most wonderful time of the year. The Toys R Us time of Toys R Us time of year. I should really get double pay for what I'm doing right now. So.
It would end up working. For sure. Holy crappies.
So while Angel's chatting and doing his thing, I will make mention that if the Eagles wanted to jettison A.J. Brown, because everyone thinks that's going to happen, it's not happening. He's Jalen Hurts, I think, is his godfather to his daughter. They're best friends with Smith. I put up the numbers. Eagles are going to take about a $41.4 million cap hit in 2024 to trade a 26-year-old top 3 receiver in the league. So it's not happening. All the other stuff, smoke and mirrors, smoke and noise, whatever you want to call it, it's not happening. I'll see if I can get an Embiid update as well. Not going to be playing tomorrow night for the 76ers, who are sitting right now in the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. Trying to find. Let me get MVP odds right now in the NBA. So as of now, Joker is minus 125. SGA is plus 300. Luka is plus 500. See, you might now want to take a flyer, as crazy as it sounds, on Embiid. Last week, Joel Embiid was plus 120 favorite, okay, via BetMGM. Monday, he was plus 450. Now he's at plus 1,500. So this is where you can actually turn something like a negative into something positive and profitable, if you will. Let's say, argument's sake, MRI comes back okay. He's going to miss a week or so, but he'll still get his 65 games in. He goes on a tear. He averages another 35 the rest of the way, and they get the top 2 or 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Then you can sit there and say, hey, Embiid's going to be the MVP again. Plus 1,500, that's not bad. That's not bad at all to take a flyer, averaging 35 points this year. So that's where your money can be. Oh, thank you. I'm getting some nice comments on my singing. Well, I appreciate that. We're just trying to buy time right now, man. That's it. We're ad-libbing. This is what we do in radio business, the broadcasting business. We just talk out of our ass. Angel's over there just dicking around, trying to get his mic set up, trying to get audio, trying to get spots fired off. And like I said, guys in Tampa, man, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I will tell you this, though. For you guys tuning in while we have a couple moments, even though the Super Bowl is next week, I'm going to give you guys a couple little quick props. So anywhere where you can get some good value, Deebo Samuel, reception yards, Travis Kelce, receiving yards, I think is over 69. I would grab that. Anything with Christian McCaffrey, carries, yards, anytime touchdown. See if you can get a little value on those as well. And I'm going to tweet this out too on Rich Q on Q on X. So McCaffrey to win Super Bowl MVP is plus 450. Mahomes is at plus 125. Typically, it's usually the quarterback that wins. In rare instances, it might not be. But here's a good number to look at. Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy passing yards. There's not really a huge gap. So the passing yardage totals for Mahomes and Purdy. Mahomes is 260.5. Purdy is 247. You would probably think there'd be a bigger difference between a player that's won the MVP twice and Purdy, who's, quote, Mr. Irrelevant. I would actually grab Purdy's under of 247. That's just me. He averaged about 267, but I think they're going to run the ball a little more with Deebo Samuel. So those are a couple good little props. Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown, you're going to grab that as well. And then lastly, you got George Kittle, his over-under receiving yards at 46.5. So think about that. That seems pretty low at first, but I think that line is basically giving you that boom or bust. And he really has done nothing since that Jacksonville game. He's got one 100-yard receiving performance. He's recorded fewer than 46 receiving yards 3 different times. So I'm going to tweet those suckers out as well. As Angel is still working on our victim, cutting them open, diagnosing the issue, the problem. Yeah.
Hopefully we're back on air here. I'll find out. Again, it happened during the LFG show. For some reason, it happened again tonight. It locked us out completely from the radio station, but we're back on digital radio air. I can see the meter moving. Hopefully everybody can hear is back on the app. I did hear the app looping back in circles and circles and circles. It happened earlier today. Listen, as things get worked out, the kinks get worked out, unfortunately things happen. So sorry, you guys, for 11 minutes we had to have the ad lib and the app and stuff crash. So yeah, things happen.
Yeah.
So
that's why we're here, my friend.
Pete checking in as well, saying what happened. He just trying to answer him back as well. So yeah, it happened. So I apologize once again because this is, listen, it's, as the network continues to grow here and we're moving studios, and of course it happens to be the same week as well. We're getting ready to go out to Vegas. Things happen, unfortunately. 11 minutes ago. Give me 1 second again. So, yeah. As we're heading out to Vegas, things happen, unfortunately, and that's what the deal is. So, okay, before I get to, as AJ's coming up, your app on the air. Okay, so AJ gave me a confirmation as well. Everybody else is coming back in. All right, so AJ, as we're quickly coming up on it now, and sorry once again, folks, for things that happen again tonight. It's kind of sometimes beyond your control. This comment I'm going to bring up, and then the next one's going to make a lot of sense. So, AJ in San Antonio says, Ashley Haas was on Tony's show. Basically, she said that she had an inside source saying that Jalen Hurts and the rest of the Eagles team gave up on each other. When Jalen flew by himself to Seattle for the Monday Night Football game, he didn't want to fly with the team. The Eagles got problems, yo. Yeah, they do. And Ashley also stated it was, according to the insider, that Jalen was not sick. He just didn't want to fly out with the team. She also mentioned about A.J. Brown trying to tell Jalen, like, hey, why don't we go to, what's that thing where you go and you lock yourself up with your friends and you try and get out? What's that?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Escape room. There you go.
What is it?
The escape room?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he invited them to have like a team activity, go out to the escape room and see if they can make things happen. Well, apparently he didn't want to do that either. And it gets to be pretty scary if that's the case, because, you got to really start thinking about it. If he was an issue, and from what it all sounds like, he has been an issue to himself. But if that being the case, what else is going on behind closed doors? And like I said, if there was meetings, we have talked about this. And matter of fact, there was one of the best stuffs today. We mentioned it. I think it was like week 11. And I already had mentioned that they were in a 2-game skid, and they started sucking from that point. And then the rest of the season, that's what it was. But if that's being the case, there's a lot more answers that need to be resolved here before the season starts. Because if Jalen's become an issue, and remember, you asked me before, if the problem came down between the head coach and the quarterback, what did I say? Get rid of the quarterback.
So let me just say this: that you're right, but in this case, it wasn't a coach, right? We mentioned this. I think I brought this up too about a month or so ago, where you saw the demeanor. There was a lot of friction and infighting. It started to leak out that guys were already making decisions, business decisions. They were 10-1, and there were reports that they were the most miserable 10-1 team out there. So that doesn't surprise me. Hurts taking a separate flight. You got to wonder where your mind's at when you do that, because you're supposed to be the franchise quarterback and the leader of the team. And if you do something like that, sick or not sick, you're basically separating yourself from the rest of your teammates, saying, I don't want to be a part of this. And this is where, and it comes back to what transpired in the offseason. Jalen got paid based on what he did last year. And I made the comment at the time that, are you paying him for what he did or what you believe he's going to do? And I thought it was too small of a sample size to pay him. Everything clicked. They had a great run. He performed brilliantly in the Super Bowl. But now you've had one season where he's a rookie, he's learning. Second season, comes on, you almost make the case MVP. This year, regressed terribly. And I don't know if that's the money. I don't know if he lost the desire. I don't know if the work's not being put in. I only can go by from the guys that I talk to that cover the team. And some of them have said it's the demeanor, it's the body language, it's what he's saying during practice, after practice, what he's saying before games, after games, especially losses. You got to be real careful now.
Mm-hmm.
Invested a substantial amount of money and you're building around Jalen Hurts. So to me, it's not surprising that these guys have basically quit. I mean, we saw that during the season. We saw that late in the season. We saw it against the Giants. We saw it against Tampa Bay. They had no fight, which only strengthened my argument. This is why you had to fire the head coach.
Right. Yep. Well,
and now he's coming back. So the Eagles have made their bed. Now they got to lie in it.
They sure do.
Right?
It's going to stink, but we'll see. It's a long off season. It's going to feel even longer at this point. AJ's now. This is where this is going to make sense. So here's how he won Ashley's heart, which is great. He says, Robin, we listen to Tony's show for people who don't give a shit, are full of shit, and particularly don't know shit. Guests like Ashley are the shit. The fact that she knows her shit is simply a plus. AJ in San Antonio.
That was going the flattery route. All right, I get it.
She loved it, though, because right after that, she was like, oh, who was that? And Tony said, AJ in San Antonio. So, I love you, AJ. So, yeah. So, he gets the winner chicken dinner of the night. And then he follows up with Quinones singing is better than Bruno singing falsetto on his show.
I don't know about that. I don't know, man. It's a toss-up. But listen, I think it's a fascinating report or fascinating take that comes out because there's so much wrong with this team. I think there's going to be an article coming out, and it might already be out. So Joe Sanliquido, who I know fairly well, part of the Boxing Hall of Fame. He does a lot of writing. He did that piece a couple years ago on Carson Wentz, where everyone thought it was a hit piece, and it turned out everything he was saying was 100% accurate about Carson Wentz and his demeanor and his behavior. I think he's going to have a piece come out on Jalen Hurts and what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. It'll be interesting to see when that comes out and what's it about, the subject matter, because, man, you can't have a situation where you have a franchise quarterback making the money that he's making, who's regressed like he has, especially the second half of the season, Angel. And now you've got a unhappy quarterback who's upset that they get rid of the offensive coordinator, who's clearly not on the same page as the head coach. To me, it sets up to just be a flat out implosion going into next year. And the only way you mask any of this is by winning. And if they don't win, we're going to debate, did they make the mistake of paying Jalen Hurts? And they shouldn't have brought back the head coach.
Yep.
That's it. Everything else is, no one cares about anything else. It's a quarterback, it's a head coach right now.
See, yep. Unfortunate, but they brought him back. I said, too, they should have brought him back just like you, but they decided to bring him back. So, again, you make your bed, you lay in it, whether you like it in or not. Just the way it is, unfortunately. Trying to think of what else. It was funny, too, where Tony had mentioned as well when it comes to Brock Purdy and how he has a roommate where he shares because San Francisco is so expensive that he still has to have a roommate. Hey, listen, California is utterly ridiculous at this point. And I don't know how many people still think it's a dream to be out there because there's so many people that left from California that went to Nevada because it's like you're outsourced. And then if you leave California, you have to basically pay a goodbye tax back to the state or it'll come hunting you down. So my
buddy's a big time 49ers fan. He was born in California. He was actually, I think he might be making the trip out to Vegas. He loves it out in San Francisco. But to each his own, right? I mean, it's San Diego's expensive. Vegas is expensive. That's Nevada, but you know what I'm saying? California overall is expensive. I mean, it's expensive everywhere. New York's expensive.
Well, this is even before COVID. I remember being back home back in 2017. There was an influx of people that were moving even from Lower Manhattan. Now, Lower Manhattan, for those who don't know, the Lower East Side, you got some bucks out there. It's not like it's cheap. And you had people that were saying it's even too expensive for me to stay at the brownstone where I was. So they were moving to Philly and Amtrakking it back to work in New York because they saved a boatload of more money by doing so. Now in Philly, the brownstones in Philly, you can live there. There's nothing wrong with it. The problem is the parking. So if the folks that I spoke with, they were basically Ubering it over to 30th Street Station and then Amtrakking it back up to New York.
Yeah.
But even still doing that, they saved themselves. Like the one guy was telling me, he was saving himself damn near almost like $9,000 a month doing it that way. Yeah. So I mean,
Wow.
it gets
Well,
expensive.
I saw that article. The younger generation making six figures complaining 100,000 isn't enough to live on.
Jesus Christ. How much do you need? Goodness gracious.
Oh, did you hear about the new Panthers head coach, by the way? Canales?
From Tampa Bay?
No. Yeah. How he had a pornography addiction and binge drinking.
What?
Co-authored with his wife. Yep.
Wow. That's
42-year-old said he no longer drinks. He's not addicted to porn. Yep.
Wow.
Living a secret life.
So is he on OnlyFans?
I'm going to go out on a limb and
say yes.
No.
Wait,
they just came out with the book to maybe help couples who were perhaps struggling with their marriage. But hey, talk about peeling the friggin' curtain back. I mean, can you imagine you're sitting in a job interview to get a head coaching gig? So we see here on your resume, you're a wide receiver coach, D-backs coach, this, that, the other thing, and you are addicted to Pornhub and you drink a lot.
Yeah.
Can you confirm?
Yes, I could. Pornhub was my sponsor, and Budweiser just decided to throw themselves in there because Bud Light is struggling. So yeah, really, it's just I went through a tough time.
Yeah, but if Peyton and Emmett Smith are buying you around a Bud Light, you're drinking it.
Yeah, just throwing it across the bar like it's nothing.
That's right.
Yeah,
and listen, that takes care of all the marketing problems.
Budweiser is going to be in trouble for many, many, many years. They are not digging out themselves out that rabbit hole anytime soon. They decided to jump in it with both feet, and you get what you choose to do. That was just dumb on their behalf. And, well, leave it at that. The best terms. But it just, everywhere is getting expensive, man. There was, at one point, I know at McDonald's, like when the whole thing with the eggs went up, I think the one time Debbie and I stepped in here, it's got to be at least over a year ago. I forgot if we were going to St. Pete or going to my mom's. Might have been going to St. Pete. But anyways, we ended up getting a Egg McMuffin. Now, mind you, there's nothing on the Egg McMuffin. There's the egg, maybe a cheese. That's about it. That Canadian ham, if they decide to do it. $7 and like something cents for one sandwich. Now, supposedly, it's back up there again for the same amount of price. And then people think that things are going down. They're not going down. Gas is going, everything continuously goes up. The only thing that doesn't go up is the wages. So I don't know where people get this crazy hope that things are going to get turned around. Things will not be turned around in this country for a while, folks. So enjoy the inflation.
Oh, it's $7 breakfast sandwiches. You kidding me?
No way. That's insane. You got to go to Denny's and almost get the Grand Slam with the coffee much cheaper.
I can't drive past Denny's anymore without laughing.
Wait, do I have it? No. Let me wait. Not that one. No, hold on. This was even better.
Do you work at Denny's? Have you been picked up by Q? He will take you for a wild ride. He knows how to work the mic. Martinez Company on the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my God.
Yes, sir. That's how we end the show.
I mean, that's just shameful of me. Outrage.
That's okay. It makes it for a great bumper. Matter of fact, I haven't even put it out there on Twitter yet. I forgot. I put the one on Martha out there. I forgot all about the one from Denny's.
Yeah, but see, the problem is, here's the problem. I didn't bump her.
It's okay. No one will know the difference. It's all right.
Well, when you work in construction and you have to be up early. Oh, man.
As well, it's okay. We get it. That'd be a whole different show for a whole different day.
Yeah. The lies we were able to get away with when we were in our 20s. Top 10. Boom, boom,
That's it.
boom.
Listen, I haven't even told. Matter of fact, I think, and I know we're quickly coming up here at the end of the show, but I'm going to share the one time. I know the producer might walk in the studio, but I got to share the one time the index card story. I think this is before when Ryan was with me. I haven't told the story yet. That one is a winner, my friend. It is a winner. Yeah. So that might have to be on a Friday that you're not doing a boxing match. Because if I do it during the beginning of the week, people are going to be like, I'm not tuning back into that show. But just saying. All right, listen. Thank you all once again for tuning in here. It is Martinez Company from 6 to 8 p.m. Of course, I am Angel Martinez. He is Rich Quinones. See, she just peeped in the door. She came over from Studio B over to Studio A here. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, AJ Johnson and the Bleacher Brothers are coming up right behind us here from 8 to 10 p.m. Start your morning off with Pete Shepard and the Pete Shepard Show on the Tony Bruno Sports Network from 7 to 10 a.m., followed by Defo, who's on a break for 2 weeks. He will be on from 10 to 12. Then the best of between 12 and 1 p.m., followed by the LFG Show from 1 to 3 with Dave, Jim, and Matt. Then, of course, Tony and Miss Robin from 3 to 6, and then us from 6 to 8. All right, you guys, be safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
There's only one real place for total sports. That's the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
Oh, you know what? I forgot this other thing. Hang on, folks. Hang on. Not that. Come on, close out. Where's my screener? Where's my screener? I got to close this out. Craps. There we go. Forgot to close it out. There's a new thing as well that we had to do here around here to make sure that the screener to get closed off. All right. Well, listen, thanks to everyone once again for tuning in. If you guys want some bonus content right after this show on broadstsouth.com, or you stay right on the YouTube page, it is Talking Hoops with the host, Coach T. Johnson, Coach Mac, and Ron Briscoe, which I still have to have over here on our side of the house as well. Someone had made a late comment as we were heading off from the show. AJ said peace. So thank you, AJ. I do appreciate it. And for everyone else, thank you once again for everyone tuning in. We will be back at it unless something happens in between, but we should be back here again tomorrow. And then, of course, next week, you guys will probably start hearing more of the lineup maybe tomorrow as Miss Robin puts it all together, but it will be basically condensed shows for 1 hour shows. It's just going to be different from the normal. Then when we all come back from Vegas, it'll go back to the normal as well. So thank you all for tuning in once again here on the socials, over on the app, and we will talk to you all come tomorrow.